Hello and thank you for joining us for Weather Out West. I'm meteorologist Cody Proctor. Here's what we're tracking for you today. We're only 2 days away from Super Bowl 60 and we have got your latest forecast on the game and out in the Bay Area. Plus, later in the show, we're sharing how Seahawks fans are keeping the memory of an icon and Washington legend alive. And finally, we take you on a ride with a group of snowmobile enthusiasts. But first, let's take a live look now at Levi Stadium. The excitement is building for the Super Bowl right now. Kickoff is only just a couple of days away now. The Seattle Seahawks are set to take on the New England Patriots in what's expected to be a really good game, to say the least. And not only is the game expected to be a good one, but it should be joined with some very good weather. Meteorologist Thomas Patrick is breaking down the Super Bowl Sunday forecast for us.
Big game this Sunday between the Seahawks and the Patriots. It's Super Bowl 60. I've been curious about the forecast in Santa Clara, California, where it's been in the 70s all week long. For Sunday, a high temperature of 65 degrees, and you'll notice no weather issues during the Super Bowl. It actually stays pretty clear and calm all day long. Really, the only thing is for the fans that are there may experience a bit of fog in the morning, which is not uncommon for the Bay Area.
And as you saw earlier in the show, the Bay Area is looking beautiful for Sunday's kickoff, and that's expected to continue all weekend. Let's go now to Monica Woods in Sacramento with the latest for us.
I'm meteorologist Monica Woods, checking on some changes finally moving into the forecast for northern and central California. Regional headlines. We're going to get through this beautiful Super Bowl weekend with great weather for the coast, for the valley, some morning fog, then sunshine. Weekend changes appearing for the foothills and snow finally making a return to the Sierra as well. Here's a look at our Levi Stadium forecast. And as you can see, a mix of sun and clouds in there. Temperatures around 70 on Friday, and then we'll cool things into the mid 60s with fairly light winds for the coast into our weekend outlook. Kickoff at 3:30 for that big game. Futurecast showing us a little bit of fog returning to the Central Valley. It quickly erodes, though, into our Saturday afternoon. We'll see dry conditions. We'll start to see some slight changes for the weekend outlook, mainly just more in the way of cloud cover, but still largely on the dry side. But then we quickly turn our attention to a likely wetter and likely cooler forecast, especially for the middle of February. And we need it as well. The rainy season was off to a great start. The wettest months of the year, though, are proving to be fairly dry. So December and January, which are two of our 3 wettest months, ended up on the short side of things after a great start in October and November. So again, we need to get things going. February, the second wettest month of the year, would be nice to put a lot in the rain bucket and put a lot more snow on the Sierra. And it looks like things are starting to signal some changes here with our weather pattern and the storm track starting to sink to the south here. We've got some showers popping up here by early Monday, and that connects to another weather system off the coast, kind of feeding us with moisture right through the Central Valley, all along the coast, and snow finally for the Sierra by the middle of next week. Friday temperature highs right around 50 for the Sierra. We're in the 60s to low 70s throughout the foothills with our central Sierra. Also seeing some warm notes here, highs in the 50s. We're in the 70s for the Central Valley. It looks like we'll see more in the way of fog by the weekend forecast. Fairly dry, though, for our Friday. Highs in the 60s along the central coast. We'll see those highs in the 70s for the much of the San Joaquin Valley. Santa Cruz up to 64. And as we travel towards the Bay Area, so much activity brewing around the Patriots and Seattle Seahawks taking on each other on Sunday. So we've got the fan experience in the Bay Area and, of course, the big game in Santa Clara. Highs are going to be in the 60s and 70s for our Friday. A little cooler for the weekend. We're in the 50s and 60s across the northwest coast. On the north end of the valley, highs are going to be close to 70. And the capital region, highs in the 60s to right around 70 for our Friday before we start to see some cooler weather for the weekend outlook. A little bit of patchy low clouds and a mix of some clouds moving in there as that weather system tries to start to make its approach into Northern California. It makes a much bigger impact on Monday and Tuesday, with temperatures dropping into the 30s for the Sierra by next Tuesday. As we head into the foothills, again, some weekend changes, cooler, more clouds, and then the opportunity of showers moving in by the time we get into the middle of next week. We're dry across the coast. Got to take a little bit of time for the rain bands to start to pick up. getting through this very solid ridge of high pressure across the west coast. So again, we're going to track those changes, not only at the opportunity for rain, but also some cooler weather moving into the outlook by next week. And that will take us into our Valentine's Day weekend forecast, which also includes the chance of rain and cooler weather.
Thank you so much. Now, Seahawks fans across Seattle are getting ready for the big game, but the weekend begins a wet weather trend that could lead to possible mountain snow by Monday. Rich Marriott has more for us.
Hi, I'm King 5 meteorologist Rich Marriott, and we've made it to Friday mercifully, but boy, it's been quite a week around Puget Sound. We've been looking at temperatures, well, more typical of what you might be seeing in the month of March and April, running anywhere from about 5 to 10 degrees above normal and setting a couple of records around the Sound. Yesterday, cooled us a little bit there out at the airport, 57 degrees there. We might pick up a couple more degrees. Nowhere near the record of 62 set back in 1987, but definitely warm enough. It's starting to fool the plants around Puget Sound, so that's a good and bad thing depending how the rest of the winter plays out. Checking the Port Angeles Tower cam, it's seeing a little bit of that fog that we had scattered around Puget Sound this morning. It's kind of moved in there through the strait and still sitting over them, but that should burn off as we head towards just a little bit later on. And looking out for our Bellingham Tower cam, which did have a little fog earlier, you can see plenty of sunshine going on there now, and going to be a little filtered by some middle and high clouds kind of drifting through today, it looks like. And there in Tacoma, you can see plenty of sunshine looking out there towards the Tacoma Dome and Mount Rainier. You'd almost be fooled in thinking that was a summer morning, almost. Looking at our satellite image this morning, big ridge of high pressure has been sitting over the west. That's what's given us the really warm temperatures the last few days and be keeping us dry still as we continue with kind of a difficult winter at this point. We do have this big area of low pressure out here, which is that high moves on to the east. It's going to allow this to start pushing in, and we will see a front move in after about midnight tonight. It should spread rain into Puget Sound. By the time you wake up tomorrow morning, it should be raining. It looks like the rain will last for a good chunk of the day tomorrow before it turns to showers later on, and we'll see it a little breezy in spots, especially as you get farther to the north of Seattle. Nothing serious though. We'll get a little bit of a break behind that as we head towards early on Sunday morning, and then it looks like we'll see another system move in as we head towards Sunday night for another round of rain, turning to some showers starting off Monday. And through it all, we will see those snow levels gradually drop from right now. They're around anywhere from about 8,000 to 9,000 feet on Friday. Should drop down to about 3,000 feet by late Sunday night on into early Monday, which means by the time we hit Monday, we'll be seeing snow up and down all the Cascades, getting down to the base of the ski areas and the mountain highway passes. Looking at that extended forecast, you can see talking about one last really warm day, 5 to 10 degrees above normal. Most spots, normal is around 50 at this point. As we head into tomorrow, it's kind of a rainy and breezy day. We get a break early Sunday, and then you see it increase. As we head towards Monday, we're going to be seeing partly sunny skies with showers around. Up in the mountains, we'll continue to see snow showers. The snow levels around 3,000 feet. And then through the remainder of the week, it's kind of a mixture of sunshine and maybe a couple of showers, with temperatures running closer to normal, though, right around that 50-degree mark. And of course, we have the Winter Olympics getting underway today. And you can see that we've got there in Milan this morning, actually their afternoon. This is about 6 o'clock their time, a little after 6 o'clock. 52 degrees, opening ceremonies in Milan starting at 8 o'clock. So they're going to be in the probably mid to upper 40s through most of the opening ceremonies. So not a bad evening at all over there in Italy. And checking the satellite image, you see they're getting a break. They're kind of between systems right now with not a whole lot going on. And we do have some big outdoor events coming up this weekend. We have the men's downhill tomorrow taking place in the Alps. The women's and men's events are in two different places. The men's events are in the Alps, and then the women's are over in the Dolomites. So, but they're only about 90 miles from each other, so the weather very similar. So for tomorrow, we're going to be looking for some light snow for the downhill, men's downhill. Temperatures probably in the mid to upper 20s while they're running the races. And for Sunday for the women, just about the same. We're going to be looking for those temperatures a little bit cooler, maybe low to mid 20s for the women's downhill. And then we continue those alpine events during the week next week, and the weather continues to cooperate, it looks like, as we get into next week for the Olympics. Taking a look at the satellite image, or not the computer model, radar and precipitation combined. See, today we still are seeing the effects of that ridge of high pressure as it slides away from us. By the time we head towards early tomorrow morning, that rain spreads into Puget Sound. We have kind of a wet day, turns to showers as we head towards late afternoon or evening, and then we'll have those showers kind of let up overnight, and that next system starts to move in as we head towards later Sunday afternoon, probably just as you're settling in to watch the Super Bowl with the Seahawks there. And actually in Santa Clara, that kickoff on Sunday afternoon, it's probably going to be sunny and low to mid 60s, so not bad for a Super Bowl Sunday. I just want to say, go Hawks. And then as we go on to the week next week, you can see we're going to be seeing these systems kind of brush by. There's kind of a little bit of a split in the westerly flow, sending systems north and south of us, so we just see little brush by systems. But snow levels should be hovering around 3,000 to 4,000 next week, which will be a definite improvement. And you can see as we continue on, we'll continue to see those weak systems move on through. So our forecast for today, again, mostly sunny this afternoon, mid to upper 50s. Tomorrow, rainy and breezy, low to mid 50s. Sunday, we start dry with an increasing rain during the afternoon, low 50s. Showers around Monday with temperatures back to normal around 50 degrees. And then we'll see a mixture of sunshine, clouds, and a few showers for Monday all the way through Thursday.
Thank you so much. And as you can see, a lot of excitement for this weekend. As it turns out, a record number of U.S. employees plan to miss work the Monday after the Super Bowl. That's according to a survey from workforce platform UKG. It estimates 26.2 million people will be absent. That beats last year's record by about 4 million. Now, most survey respondents say they're using PTO or swapping shifts. About 5 million say they'll call in sick or just not show up. But before fans take Monday off, football fans everywhere are making their predictions for Sunday's Super Bowl. And it's not just the humans. This is an annual tradition at the Maritime Aquarium in Norwalk, Connecticut. We'll see it here in just a moment. On Wednesday, a handler threw two footballs into the water. Each had the logo of the opposing teams. One was the New England Patriots and, of course, the Seattle Seahawks. It was all up to Mikey, an almost a 2-year-old gray seal, to make his pick. Mikey went for the Patriots football. Aquarium staff said Mikey was ready for it this day. Now, the aquarium says the seal had actually been working on his retrieval skills since last fall. Meanwhile, here on the West Coast, it's been pretty quiet for us as far as our winter. Our snow plows have been only lightly used this season, but with so much snow in other parts of the country, business, as it turns out, is booming for one snowplow company. Take a look.
There's snow everywhere, and as you might expect, Pathfinder Snowplows is seeing sales skyrocket. The local manufacturer is based in Exeter and has been making plows for more than 60 years.
It's been round the clock, nonstop, building, selling, repairing, servicing. This year has been crazy, especially with this last storm. It's like, everyone wants a snowplow.
Starting at just 18 years old, Hone took over the family business from his father. Now he runs the operation alone, focusing on quality, durability, and keeping production local.
Everything built here, all the steel comes in from local steel companies, and it gets all processed here, cut, punched, drilled, welded, painted, all that.
Finding contractors or students from local vocational schools has been a big help for production. And with other name brand companies dominating the industry, Hone is using YouTube to help expand his business.
A picture is worth 1,000 words, like a video is worth like a million, So it's like people see it, it's direct information. It's like the easiest way to understand something. So that's how I film everything.
If you're still looking for a plow or even looking ahead to next year, Hone's advice is to start looking for plows earlier, because when things start to get busy, parts are harder to come by and demand grows.
This last storm, it was just like, it just shot up to the roof. Like, it's crazy. Like you look at the data on my website, it's like, boom, it's like, it's insane.
Well, we are just getting started here on Weather Out West. Coming up, how Seahawks fans are taking over rival territory. Welcome back to Weather Out West. Now, for Seahawks fans, winning the Super Bowl this year would be even more special, knowing that they're winning in their rival stadium. Drew Mickelson shares the story of the Hawks' invasion of 49ers territory.
History is alive in San Francisco, a city where they like celebrating the past.
It's a beautiful piece of the world, but doesn't compare to Seattle now.
Kieran and Jennifer can't afford Super Bowl tickets.
Go Hawks!
But they flew down from Seattle this week just to enjoy the sights, the hype, and the rivalry.
We went in to get a latte earlier on this morning, and the lady said, I don't think I can serve you. She looked at us and then she laughed and she said, what do you having?
It hurts to see Seattle in here. Sorry about you guys, Seattle, but it hurts to see them on our field, and it's really going to hurt if they win to celebrate on our field.
Despite their recent playoff elimination to the Hawks.
Go Seahawks! Go Seahawks!
Niners!
First. 49er fans are everywhere here.
Go hard. What can you say?
The ones we've seen have not been angry or mean, even to the 12s who drove down in their shiny sports cars.
Beast mode.
Or Olympia's Joey Goodwin, who got a souvenir beer stein engraved with a bold prediction.
Hawks, SBLX champs. Super Bowl champs. The game is just a formality.
Are you superstitious at all? Because some Hawks fans are going to be saying, Joey, dude.
No, not at all. Not at all. It's a done deal.
We were here since August 5th, 1962.
Talk about history. Kevin Chan's family opened the Golden Gate Fortune Cookie Factory more than 60 years ago. They hand make thousands of cookies a day.
Not just the taste, it's about love.
He has nothing but love for the Seahawks on Sunday.
I'm sure they're going to blow it up because they're hungry. The Seahawks are hungry.
So despite the recent history, it appears this host city is ready to be gracious, willing to move on when it comes to the Hawks.
They are, of course, heartbroken, and so we have to be a little bit sensitive to the fact that it is their area. They had visions of them making it. It would have been a great experience for them.
Thank you so much, Drew. Now switching back here regionally, Idaho's expected to see some mild weather on Friday, but that could change by the start of next week. Here's the latest from Hector Mendoza.
Well, taking a look at some of the precipitation chances we're expecting here through Idaho, a lot of that really starts to increase, but this is just a look specifically at the Treasure Valley. Now, as we look, some of the totals don't really look that impressive when it comes to some of the percentages, but it's not going to be until late Sunday, early in through Monday that we'll see some of those higher or elevated chances before we start to see that really taper off through Monday afternoon. We still hold with the chance for some maybe slight showers across the Pacific Northwest here, and especially as we look at places here through the Treasure Valley. But again, a lot of that doesn't really hold steady for too long, as a lot of these chances are going to really start to diminish here through the following week. But the biggest things that we're going to pay attention to is the milder temperatures here for this weekend, that change in conditions as we'll see rain, wind, and cooler temperatures here to start off next week. And a lot of those cooler temperatures look to stick around here as we head towards the rest of next week. And again, this is that ridge of high pressure that's just been parked over our area here, bringing us a lot of those warmer temperatures, cooling down some of those areas there that we're going to see as this starts to break down. All of that because of that system right there that we'll see really bring along some cooler temperatures with this cold front. Those showers will start to really come along. And again, it looks like it arrives late Sunday here for southwest Idaho, and we'll continue with some of the showers early in through Monday. So looking at the 7-day forecast, you'll see that huge difference here between Sunday and Monday. Into the 60s is what we're expected to hit at here on Sunday, but then dropping down about 10 to 11 degrees on Monday. Still staying above average, but just a lot cooler than what we're seeing here for our Sunday. Temperatures in some of these conditions really stay steady all the way through Thursday, but we're also going to see our best chance for some of those showers to come early on and through Monday. So a lot of commuters are really going to get impacted by some of the wet roads that we're expecting, along with a little bit more of those winds that will become breezy and windy as we look at some of the valley spots. And we still continue with that air stagnation advisory till the beginning of next week at around 5 o'clock in the morning. Again, a lot of that really continues due to the very stagnant air conditions that we've been seeing because of this ridge of high pressure. Now, when those winds start to pick up and we see that start to allow for some mixing here on the surface, that's what's really going to scour out a lot of these conditions here. So a little less of these hazy skies and a little bit more of those clouds and a possibility of some sunshine to really return here across most of southwest Idaho. Now, as we're taking a look here at this future cast, we'll start to notice that here on Saturday, as we're looking at the afternoon, we'll start to see some of those clouds really start to pick up. A lot of the showers will start to make their way through the Pacific Northwest and then really start to arrive as we get towards the afternoon and in through the night there for most of the valley spots. Snow again really expected up in some of the higher elevations, but as the system continues on through, we're not really going to see much of that stick around through most of our Monday. Further up north, a possibility that's sticking around, but here across the valleys here and through eastern Idaho, not really expecting much of that to stick around. And as we head towards Tuesday, we're also going to notice some of the snow levels that'll start to drop, not necessarily impacting too much, as a lot of the precipitation is going to be good and done with. And that is why, as we look at some of those snow levels, 4,000 to 6,000 feet is where we're going to hover around on Monday for some of those mountain spots. Then we drop down to almost 2,500 to 3,500 feet. So if we had precipitation, or if we expect to see a little bit more of that through Tuesday, that's when we're expecting to see a chance for some snow in the valley, but it doesn't look likely as we head towards the middle of next week.
Hector, thank you so much. And staying here in the Pacific Northwest, Spokane's going to see a similar trend many on the West Coast are expected to see. Thomas Patrick shares what to know.
I'm meteorologist Thomas Patrick in Spokane, Washington. Been an interesting morning and honestly an interesting week of weather, tracking the fog day by day, hour by hour, almost minute by minute at times. This morning it started very foggy and we thought we were going to lean into another day like Thursday. And then it just wasn't as bad for the rest of the morning. Really, any fog has just hugged some bodies of water, including at Lake Coeur d'Alene, but this a bit of an anomaly compared to elsewhere in the inland Northwest. So the question is, where is it still foggy? Has been worst over northern Spokane and actually a little bit more over the Palouse, but not nearly as bad in scope as it was yesterday. Let's take you up towards the mountains where it is definitely not foggy. In fact, you have to look down towards the valley floor to see where the clouds and the fogs are sat. This is Schweitzer Mountain in North Idaho, and there you see the clouds out towards Sandpoint. Meanwhile, at Silver Mountain in the Silver Valley, again, the cloud cover sitting beneath the chairlifts there. So if you're heading up to do some skiing and snowboarding, you're going to be treated to a whole lot of sunshine overhead, all the clouds still locked in below. Though it's having a huge impact on temperatures. I'm going to admit, yesterday I forecasted 50 degrees for Spokane. We fell 11 degrees shy of that. The only way that happens is if the temperature inversion just never breaks in the afternoon. And it stayed foggy all day long yesterday. So that absolutely busted the forecast at 39. But if we would have gotten sunshine, it would have been just like in Pullman, 54 degrees. That's the difference of your temperature inversion. Tends to not be any in between. It's either 30s or 50s in this particular case. Now today, less fog, but more widespread cloud coverage. So I do actually think we recover a little bit in Spokane to the low 40s, but the Palouse ends up being cooler because you are going to get more clouds instead of that completely sunny day that you had yesterday. So there's the difference. A lot more in the 40s, maybe a few spots out west of Spokane will still be stuck in the upper 30s. Again, with sunshine, could have been 50 degrees, but the clouds are having a big impact on that. Now we move into the weekend. Looks like we're going to have quite the storm for the Pacific Northwest. For Spokane, it starts at around 3 o'clock Saturday afternoon. First wave of evening rain. Definitely looks pretty soaking wet. A light to moderate rainfall looking likely. Sunday, I at first thought it was going to be a bit more wet for this day. Our latest computer model simulation kept a lot of the rain along I-90 and southward. So I still think, Pullman, you're in for a 100% soaking wet day. Wasn't so sure in Spokane and Coeur d'Alene, or at least our modeling wasn't. I will say this, I think that is a bit more unlikely. Sunday actually looked like it was going to be a widespread rain, and when you look at the total amount of rain, even a half an inch for Omak and Colville, half an inch for Spokane and Pullman, seems like it was more evenly distributed in terms of rainfall, not just southern versus northern half. So I would anticipate a pretty rainy day on Super Bowl Sunday, so just stay it inside, watch the big game. That should be a lot of fun. And our temperatures do stay mild through this weekend. Should be in the mid-40s both days pretty easily.
Thomas, thank you so much. Well, she's a Seahawks icon and a Washington legend. Coming up, how Mama Blue's family is keeping her memory alive at the Super Bowl this weekend. Welcome back to Weather Out West. A Seahawks superfan and Washington legend will be watching the Super Bowl this weekend from above. Patty Mama Blue Hammond is known for her Hawk spirit, and this year, her family is making sure her legacy lives on.
The blue wig, the sparkling glasses. Seat 11 in Section 125 is forever reserved for Patty Mama Blue Hammond. These days, those 6 seats in the lower bowl are filled every home game by her family.
She is still there with us when we go to games.
Mama Blue passed away in 2023 at the age of 92. Her spirit still lives on through 4 generations of her family who are all diehard 12s.
Any family gatherings, that's all we talk about, what's going on with the Seahawks. Our family stays connected through her, even though she isn't here physically. It's still just the Seahawks just brings us together, and that's because of what we learned from her.
Mama Blue's such a legend, she's even in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Steven's favorite Seahawk memory with his great-grandma is the 2014 NFC Championship.
Seattle's going to the Super Bowl!
she would not sit down the whole game. And she seemed like she was the only one in our whole section that was still cheering as loud as she could. And that's for sure something that I still try to do every game.
Now he will be there Sunday as the Seahawks have a chance to make the Super Bowl for the first time since that improbable comeback win over the Packers. In the crowd, you may spot a custom Mama Blue jersey. A little way for them to say, Mama Blue, we love you. Drew Andre, King 5 News.
And be sure to stick around for another half-hour Weather Out West, where we have the latest from Denver, Phoenix, and more. Thank you for staying here with us on Weather Out West. I'm meteorologist Cody Proctor. We're going to go right out to the Mountain West, where Phoenix is expected to see 80-degree temperatures on Friday before a big drop-off next week. Ginger Jeffries has more for us.
I'm meteorologist Ginger Jeffries with a look at your weather out west across Arizona, where overnight we saw a little bit of rain activity. I know, nothing measurable yet, but we certainly saw the setup yesterday. I mean, look at this from East Mesa, so the east side of the valley, even though the moisture moving through on the west side, closer to our border with California. And as you can see on our satellite picture, yep, there's still a little bit of green out there. So much of this is virga, though. It's moisture in the upper levels of the atmosphere. It's not actually making its way down to the ground, but we saw so much cloud cover out there yesterday that it's kind of a mental thing. Well, we don't have the blazing sunshine. It feels cooler than what the temperature is actually reading. Now, is there any opportunity to pick up some measurable rainfall? Let's take a look. As you can see, in the early morning hours, that rain is just kind of a footprint around the metro. It doesn't look like measurable rainfall for us at all. It's going to push off into the northwest corner, but then we're still seeing a little bit of active weather this to the east of us. But as these cells open up, we always get some of that outer banding that certainly could maybe kick a little bit of saturation, especially in the higher elevations closer to Tucson. And this is also going to give us some off and on clouds. But as far as any kind of rainfall, first of all, for the tournament, doesn't look like it's going to happen. And measurable rainfall for the metro doesn't look like it's going to happen. However, as these waves continue to push on through, it's just a sign that this high pressure blocking pattern that's been keeping our temperatures well above the normal range, even near record territory midweek, well, that's beginning to break down. So let's take a look across Arizona. We've got some off and on thin kind of filtered cloud cover. Temperature wise, though, we're still on the warmer side. Gila Bend, 83 degrees. Parker going for a high of 82, 81 in Havasu. I've got mostly cloudy conditions, and if we're going to pick up any kind of measurable rainfall today, it's brushing the very northern tier of the state. So from the Grand Canyon into Page, yeah, maybe a little brief shower or two. This system is certainly too warm to produce any kind of snow action. At least we're not looking for any snow in the immediate forecast. Instead, we continue to ride above the rim across the state, seeing temperatures roughly 10 to 14 degrees above the normal range. So does that mean we're in record territory? Well, let's take a look. Highs today going for 82, the record 87. So these records are just stretching further and further away, even though we're above the normal range. So we're kind of right in between where we're supposed to be, which is 70, and those records, the upper 80s. We'll call it mostly sunny on this fabulous Friday as daytime highs push up to 82 during the day, and then variable clouds tonight popping down to about 55 degrees. Tomorrow, we're going to hold on to a little bit of this thin cloud cover, and we're going to see your temperatures hanging out once again in the low 80s. So we're still going to be above the normal range at least through the weekend. I don't see a big change up until next week, but here we go. Yeah, we've got kind of these off and on opportunities for some brief showers to the northern part of the state. It starts to amplify by about Tuesday, but still we're only at about 40% opportunity. Now, the models are all over the place about how much we're going to cool down. I think it's going to be close to about 10 degrees from the low 80s into the mid 70s by Wednesday.
Ginger, thank you so much. Now let's look over to Denver, Colorado, where many are seeing dry and mild conditions, which is having a big impact on the snowpack in the area. We have the latest from the KUSA weather team.
Hello from Denver, Colorado. I'm 9 News Weather Impact Team Chief Meteorologist Kathy Sabin. We're enjoying spring in winter, and we desperately need some snow to help the resorts, the skiers, the employees, and, well, our drought situation. Instead, we're dealing with a dominant ridge of high pressure and above average high temperatures that will continue through at least Monday. And once again, we'll be talking about elevated fire danger on one of our snowier months. But next week, there are signs of a potential pattern shift that would bring in more clouds like we saw last night and this morning, but also the potential of maybe some beneficial moisture. Right now, all the cold and snow east of us moving with this trough from the Midwest to the Northeast as this dominant ridge keeps our storm track north. There is an upper level low cut off from the main flow that is tracking east, and we're hopeful some of that moisture will make it into Colorado. Right now, it may be too far to the south to be of any impact for us, but we'll watch as this cloud shield begins to lift north into Colorado, not expecting much in the way of rain or snow from underneath those clouds. Further out to the west, there's a much bigger trough that's developing, the leading edge of which will start to bring some rain and snow to the Pacific Northwest in 72 hours, while the greatest travel impacts really over the course of the weekend will be from Minneapolis to New York. We do, in fact, see that high pressure ridge is the dominant feature through Monday, keeping an eye on the low to the south, and then this trough off to the west, which will send waves of showers in the form of mountain snow on Wednesday and maybe a rain and or snow shower to Denver on Thursday. Not a super cold system for our state, but there may be enough moisture to see some accumulating mountain snow. Start in the 30s this morning, climb to the mid 60s today. Average high this time of year is 44. We're trending above average all the way through Monday. Cooler weather comes in the middle of next week and maybe, just maybe, a little bit of snow.
Well, I'm Weather Impact Team Meteorologist Jada Knowles here in Denver, Colorado. And yes, this weekend is a very special weekend, Super Bowl Sunday, and it's very special here in Denver. I'll tell you why, because of course the weather just hasn't been weathering for Colorado standards. We're talking about warm temperatures. What's forecasted for Sunday here in Denver is 65 degrees. Speaking of that, that's the warmest Super Bowl Sunday since all the way back in 2020, the second warmest in the last 20 plus years. So if you were just curious about how warm it is over towards Santa Clara and what they're expecting for that Sunday, we are talking about 70 degrees as the high. So only about 5 degrees warmer than what we're expecting here. So that's one of the main reasons I wish that the Broncos would have just made it, because they would have felt right at home, because almost every single home game that they had this year, the temperature was about 60 or above, and they were very successful when temperatures were like that. But we're not the only ones nice and warm. It's pretty pleasant over towards Italy. Maybe not as warm as Santa Clara, but today is the opening day of the Winter Olympics. 55 degrees is the high there. They're seeing lots of sunshine as well. Of course, our Matt Renew is there reporting live. But overall, enjoy this weekend, because Super Bowl Sunday is going to be one of the warmest ones since 2020.
Well, after the break, we're taking you on a special ride with some snowmobiles in Vermont. Welcome back. While some people around the country do not like the snow that's out on the ground, that is certainly not the case for a group of snowmobile enthusiasts who recently gathered in Vermont. They got a chance to ride together and shared their love of the sport.
You don't come to the Old Iron Ride in Washington to stand still. You come for this. Vintage machines, modern sleds, all for a ride back in time. Then for every rider, there's a why.
It's the best thing in the world.
Jackson and Hazen aren't just chasing speed. They're chasing an experience you just can't buy.
The cool thing is I can walk around here, talk to anyone that I don't know, and we can pick up a conversation about pretty much anything. Yeah, we all have like the same things. We're all here for the same reasons, and it's just a lot of fun to see all the sleds and see all the people.
But none of this happens by accident.
I know half of these people, but I couldn't tell you their names.
Meet Jim Murphy. His club spent the entire week making sure every turn, every trail was ready to go.
It's rewarding when everybody comes up and says thank you and appreciate what you do, and the trails are smooth and they love them, and so somebody's got to do it.
Each year, more people are showing up to see what it's all about, including a special stop this time by Governor Phil Scott. Then there's Tyson Bluen, president of the Washington Snow Flyers, who says the future matters just as much as the history.
We're all here for the same reason. We love snowmobiling. We don't want it to die. This is an extra bonus, and this is more fun than riding on the trail. A in a lot of sense.
So when winter hits like this, many say this is Vermont.
Just being able to see the state in a different way, it's awesome. It's beautiful.
And honestly, just beautiful to see that snow out on the ground. But bringing things now back to the PNW, Portland's expect to see some steady rain this weekend. Before that, Rod Hill shares what people can expect on Friday.
From the Rose City and from the Here We Go Again department, another sunny, crazy warm day. You know, we had 70s in a couple spots back on Wednesday. Tillamook along our north coast, it's inland in the bay, but 72 yesterday. And today we think parts of the Lima Valley and the coast will at least get back up to about 60. Now, this is it. You can see the weather systems offshore, and just like that, a rainy weekend is all set to go. In fact, Futurecast, here's tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. This has actually sped up the timeline a little bit. So maybe it is raining right from the get-go when you awake Saturday morning. If not, it will be developing. And understand, this is steady, widespread rain expected to come in for much of the day. There's actually two fronts, one tomorrow, one Sunday. So it makes sense that in between, this will be overnight into Saturday overnight, there could be some scattered showers around, a bit of a break. But here's a secondary wave of moisture coming up Sunday, and again, raining more than not. Okay, let's talk snow levels. Snow level is going to be fairly high on Saturday, but we could have snow sticking to the Cascade Passes starting at some point Sunday afternoon, or at least Sunday night into Monday morning, as those snow levels fall down to 3,000 feet. Just to kind of further drive home the point, that's going to be a rainy weekend down here. Weather models show an inch to over an inch and a half, potentially both at the coast and the valley. And it shows widespread moisture, almost a half of an inch in Madras, Pendleton, and out toward the Blue Mountains in La Grande as well. So be fair warned. This is one of our Timberline live cameras. And I mean, that's dirt. That's snow that's becoming increasingly brown. Timberline, I'm going to politely word this, claims to have 34 inches deep in terms of depth where they have their base open. Again, this could go either way. The snow level is going to be right about 6,000 feet or slightly higher on Saturday, so I'm not sure if that's a rain mix or if it's wet snow accumulating. But it should be a pretty snowy day up at the lodge on Sunday, so that's good news. And then the snow level gets down, as I mentioned, to 3,000 feet going into Monday morning. Maybe we have at least some sticking snow at pass level going into Monday morning. Our live cameras, they are terrific. Here's Lincoln City, Chinook Winds Casino Resort, where there could be 60-degree temperatures again today. Here's a look at our state capitol. We had some fog kind of come and go, but obviously pretty fog-free there, and just a beautiful morning in the Rose City as you look at the sunny skies. So our afternoon map, we, again, this morning are starting off with that low cloud lockdown from Redmond up into Hood River, the Dalles out in the Pendleton. All those areas only saw temperatures with the gray, dark conditions in the 40s yesterday. It might be some clearing, but I don't think it all clears out today. It will clear out as the weather systems come in for the weekend, but of course those weather systems will be bringing their own cloud cover and precipitation with them. All right, so 57 today as we say goodbye to what has been an incredibly and record run of warm weather for February. There's the rainy weekend, 53 tomorrow, 50 on Sunday. Breaks into scattered showers on Monday. May or may not see some showers around on Tuesday. Wednesday looks dry. Some of the modeling shows Thursday stays dry as well. For now, we'll include an afternoon shower chance. These will be temperatures next week getting back down closer to normal, but all of a sudden what look to be some promising snow for the mountains. The moisture amounts don't look to be that impressive any longer. Have a good weekend from the Rose City.
Thank you so much. And while many could see rain this weekend, the same cannot be said for San Diego. Here's the latest from America's finest city.
Thanks for joining us for Weather Out West here in San Diego, California. I'm CBS 8 meteorologist Vanessa Paz. All right, as we say adios to the work week and hello to the weekend, which happens to be a big weekend, Super Bowl, we have some changes here in Southern California. So first, we're taking a look at high surf. We're out of the heat. That was the biggest threat earlier this week, and now we're just looking at pretty big surf across our beaches all the way through Sunday morning. This weekend, in case you're wondering, for San Diegans, it's going to be very pleasant. We're talking about mostly in sunny, dry conditions. Possible rain next week, along with some cool weather, all due to an incoming low, and we'll showcase that in just a moment. But first, we'll talk about the high surf, and then we'll take a dive into what we can expect later on this weekend. For the high surf, this will be impacting our entire coastline from the North County all the way towards the South Bay, impacting our beaches from 10 o'clock this morning all the way through a Sunday morning at 6 o'clock. We're expecting 5 to 8 foot sets. We could see greater sets though, or greater heights, I should say, especially for those beaches that face the west. They could get up to 10 feet or so. And we're talking about a high rip current risk. So we always advise those that are inexperienced or not used to ocean swimming to stay back, kind of watch the waves from afar, and leave it to the pros to kind of tackle, again, the ocean conditions that we're expecting for the next few days. We also have the possibility for some low-lying flooding as well, especially for those low-lying beaches. All right, big picture. Let's go ahead and fast forward to Tuesday early morning. We have this trough of low pressure. This is going to bring us some rain. It looks like it hits parts of central California first, and then it makes its way south. So we'll fast forward this and pause it at about Tuesday around 6:30 p.m. You can see that showers become light, then a little more widespread, heavier at times by the time we get to 6:35 p.m. or so. And it looks like we could get a blip of some snow for the counties to our north. That includes Riverside, San Bernardino County. Big Bear, for example, could get hit with some light snow. We'll have to wait and see. These models, the numbers that we're forecasting will change the closer we get to next week. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at the rainfall totals. They look fairly minimal, but again, we'll take what we can get. We haven't seen rain in quite some time. We could see half an inch or so for the inland valleys, about 4/10 or so for the coastal spots. And this is through Wednesday early morning, and about 7/10 for Palomar Mountain, a little over half an inch out in Ramona. And as I mentioned, numbers, the models will change the closer we get to the middle of next week. All right, today is going to be great. I mean, we're talking about a noticeable cooling, especially in comparison to the record-breaking heat that we saw this past week. The coast and inland valleys, we have weather impact days for the coastline Saturday and Sunday because of the high surf and strong rip currents. The warmest day will be on Sunday because we have that ridge of high pressure that's going to kind of shimmy towards Southern California, bringing us some warm temperatures. It's short-lived though, because notice how the temperatures fastly drop by the time we get to the beginning of next week. The mountains and desert areas, incredible weather, 60s all the way through the weekend, then 70s for one day on Monday, and then Tuesday is when we can start to see some rain starting in the mountain areas. The deserts, 80s on tap all the way through Tuesday, and then they'll see a slight drop by the time we get to the middle of next week.
And coming up after the break, we're wrapping up with a survival story of a dog lost in frozen Fargo. Welcome back to Weather Out West. We have one more story to share with you. A lost dog survived 20 days in very cold Fargo, North Dakota. And the rescue is thanks to some careful surveillance, local businesses, and maybe a group of caring rabbits. Kevin Wallivan reports.
Hello. Here he is, the survivor. Peanut, the wonder dog.
Oh my gosh, she is so tiny.
Who today met some of those responsible for the rescue.
Everybody was looking for you, bud.
Peanut escaped his Fargo yard on January 8th, and for the next 20 days,
we were just not hopeful that he was going to survive those conditions. And then to see him on camera in the midst of all that storm going on was just, I mean, I can't even explain the feelings.
The little Chihuahua Pomeranian was running solo.
The wind chills never hit above zero.
In unimaginable winter temperatures.
The last weekend before we found him, we were seeing 50 to 60 degrees below zero with the wind chill.
Missing signs with a photo of a Peanut were everywhere around town.
I think in those 8 days that we had no sightings, I had become pretty discouraged. I was not hopeful that we were going to find him.
The Minnesota-based nonprofit, The Retrievers, relying on tips from local businesses in an industrial area in Fargo, put out traps for several days.
You know, we tell people dogs are so resilient. They can survive anything. I mean, he's proof of it.
And finally, 20 days after disappearing, Peanut got trapped.
So happy to have you home. You got new friends. Everybody was worried about you.
Area businesses like Gabriel Metal Casting help look for Peanut, and they swear that he had a little help from his friends, furry friends.
There was 20 bunnies out in the lot where he was running when we were getting him, and he was warm. He found warmth. There was always a bunny next to him whenever we would see him.
And you would think being out for 20 days in sub-zero temperatures would have a drastic impact on Peanut. But he's the wonder dog.
They said, I mean, other than being thin, no frostbite, heart was good, lungs were good.
A happy ending for all who care about Peanut.
Are you smiling? You're happy with all your friends?
Many thought the worst, but in the end, this little bundle fooled them all.
It's a miracle.
Yes.
Right?
He means so much to my family.
With his perseverance, survival skills.
It's literally miraculous. I just don't know how he managed to survive, but.
And now he's living his best life.
And sure as heck, we got him home.
Feels good.
It feels wonderful. Feels wonderful.
Just incredible. Glad to have you home, Peanut. Well, thank you again for joining us for Weather Out West. We hope you have a fun and a safe Super Bowl Sunday weekend.